Money's tight. So today we're going to talk about how to build a 3-week food supply on a budget, a tight budget. Hello everybody and welcome to SuttonsDaze. If you're new here, my name is Lisa. We are all about pantry preparedness because it is the best insurance that money can buy. Life throws us curveballs all the time, right? Says the woman who hit some unknown object and caused $1,500 worth of damage to a truck. Yeah. It's a skill, I'm telling you. But sometimes money just gets tight. And so sometimes you either have to tighten your belt, and figure out how to make do. Sometimes there's just no money coming in, an unexpected job loss or a medical issue, and it's a limited thing, So how do we stock our pantries with nutritious, healthy meals when we have no money? And we're going to talk about how to do a 3-week food supply on a budget. Let's get started. Kind of count this as a step-by-step, right? So first you're going to assess your budget and your needs. Over the course of the next 3 weeks, how much is it going to cost you to live? What bills are due? How much money do you actually have? Yeah, you got to sit down with a pen and paper and you have to figure that out because otherwise it's a guess and dime to dollar says you'll be wrong. But calculate the total amount that you can spend over the next 3 weeks. Even if you're not doing it all at once, but literally once a week, you can figure that out, right? Consider the number of meals per day that you're going to eat and the dietary needs of your household. Now, somebody is going to jump in here and say, eat 1 meal a day. Whatever. Okay, you do you. So if you eat 1 meal a day, then, But if you eat more than that, or if you have a larger family, or if you have children or teenagers who are food vacuums, right? Then there's more to consider in there. So example, if your monthly food budget is $300, you might allocate around $100, give or take, to do at least 2 or 3 weeks. It can be done. We're going to talk about how. The next one is to plan your meals. You're not going to get necessarily all the exact same stuff that you love all the time. But if you, and I'm not saying to be married to this, okay, but you're talking about an emergency situation. How are you as a single person, 2 people, a family of 5 with children, right? How are you going to get through this time period on a very minimal budget? And so you need to outline this. Outline breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks. Grab a calendar, write it in there, okay? And repeat as necessary. I mean, if you have it in week 1, you can have it again in week 3, if it's part of the rotation. Balance nutrition and cost, because not everything that is nutritious is super expensive. Some of it is very affordable. Some of it is very affordable and lasts longer than the not so nutritious stuff. So balance nutrition and cost to the best of your taste buds, ability, and, go from there. No judgment. I don't do pantry shame. You do you, boo, okay? But you still want to make sure you're getting nutrition in there because it's needed. Plan dishes like a vegetable stir fry. I mean, it doesn't have to have meat in it, right? Pasta with homemade tomato sauce, or if you don't do homemade tomato sauce, pasta with tomato sauce. And then much to some of my Texas friends' dismay, beans in their chili instead of meat. Chili with beans. I love chili with beans. Do you put beans in your chili? Leave me a comment down below. Okay, next you want to make a detailed shopping list. So you want to go through and what? Check your inventory, okay? See what you've got so that you don't buy the same thing. If you've already got it on your shelves or in your fridge or whatever, you don't need to buy it again. So you need to know what you have to know what you need. So do a detailed inventory. Write down all the ingredients that you need for the menu that you have created, okay? Because in that menu, you're going to figure out portion sizes too. So write down all the ingredients you need, and if you want to save yourself a whole lot of headache in the grocery store, categorize it, by meat and dairy and, dry goods, that kind of thing. It just makes it easier to navigate the store. And it keeps you from buying things that might be impulse buys when you don't have the money to do it. Next, we're going to say shop smart, look for the deals, right? So if applicable for where you live in your area with the stores that you go to, check the flyers that are local, check the websites that are local, and find out what the prices are. If you have any of those discount apps on your phone, do those. Do the rewards programs at the stores if it's in, if it's in play. If they have coupons, use coupons. Check for deals. That's the big thing right there. Visit discount stores. So consider shopping at stores that are known for their lower prices. There's a bunch out there. If you're fortunate enough to still have a Save a Lot, that's an option. Ours closed. They also, I see it's not a regular, they don't have a regular inventory, but something like Ollie's has different things that are on sale. Look for those discount places because a lot of times you can get it just a little bit cheaper. And if you purchase the store brand products as opposed to the brand name products, most of the time you're getting comparable quality. Might be a little different, so you can doctor it up. Not a big deal. But at the same time, it's about saving money and still eating nutritious. You can doctor up food to make it taste good. When it's applicable, buy in bulk. Today, April 2025, beginning of April 2025, a 20 or 25 pound bag of rice at Sam's Club is around 25 bucks. Okay. That's a lot of rice. That's a lot of rice. And so if it's something that you eat, then that is a great deal. And buying in bulk is a great thing to have. You get it all at once, you're done, right? If you don't eat a lot of rice or don't plan to eat a lot of rice, then don't buy a 25 pound bag because you don't need it over a 3-week thing. But rice is so adaptable. You can use it with stir fries. You can use it with burritos. You can make rice pudding out of it. It has a multitude of uses. Literally, I took some mushroom beef soup that I made and canned up, and I took the liquid from that, turned it into a gravy, heated up the mushrooms and the beef, and I poured a little bit of that gravy over the rice and then put the mushrooms and the beef in it. And I'm telling you, that was good. That's simple. It's that simple. Okay. So there's always ways to doctor up rice so that it tastes good. The key, honestly, is to not eat 4 cups of cooked rice at a sitting because, that'll mess with you. But when it's applicable and when it works for your menu. Okay. When you are thinking about items to add to your calendar, think about things that your family will eat that you can get in bulk like that it makes more sense to buy a bulk purchase. When you do buy in bulk, make sure that you consider storage, okay? Because when you buy like rice or oats for oatmeal, again, another ingredient that has a vast array of possibilities, you want to take them out of the original packaging and put them into airtight containers. Airtight. That's the thing right there. It's just got to be airtight. So if you're a canner, you've got extra canning jars that are around, put them in there. If you have those lid lock things, whatever, Rubbermaid, doesn't matter, as long as it's airtight, because that way nothing gets into it and it also stays fresher longer. That's a really big deal. If you live in a humid area, then you have to consider in the humidity, right? And that will ruin your dry goods really quick. So that's got to be something that you factor in also if you are buying in bulk. A large bag of rice can provide enough servings for multiple meals over a 3-week period, and oatmeal too. So, those are the kinds of things to look for, to think of, if it's something that you consume, that your family consumes, and then it should definitely hit your calendar as something for the menu over the course of the next 3 weeks. Batch cooking and meal prep makes me cringe. Okay, but it's just because I hate doing it. But it still saves a lot of time and a lot of money, and that way all the work is done. So if you know you're going to be crazy with a brand new schedule because you just started a new job, or if you know that you're going to not be up to full speed because of medical issues, whatever the case may be, by batch cooking and meal prepping, you've taken a lot of the work right off the table. It's not even something to consider. So if you can make a pot of soup and then put it into portion sizes and freeze it. If you can make stew, same thing, right? Lasagna, cook it up, portion it out, and freeze it. And that way, all you need to do is pull it out and heat it. Those are the kinds of meal prep and batch cooking that I'm referring to. You can get a lot of meals out of doing something like that. I've used the example before. My mother would get a few loaves of just cheap grocery store bread, and she would spend part of her day making French toast out of all of that bread. And as soon as it cooled off, she put it right back into the sleeves it came out of, put the tie on it, and put it in the freezer. And she knew, because her daughters loved French toast, that we had a hot breakfast every single day until that bread ran out. Pancakes, waffles, same thing, you know. So if you're dealing with younger kids or you just like that kind of stuff for breakfast, you can cook it all up in advance and be done. And you don't have to worry about it. And it's very inexpensive. You don't have to go buy a devoted pancake mix or a devoted waffle mix, you know. You just find the recipe to make it on, you know, from online, from flour and what other ingredients it has in it, and then print off that recipe, make a big batch, put them in the freezer, and you're good to go for 3 weeks. Learning to use our leftovers creatively, if you have leftovers, is a really great thing. It's the leftover makeover concept, you know. So if you have a stir fry one day, you can take those vegetables and throw them into a soup the next day, or a frittata. Oh, hello, yeah. You can do that with just about, you can do that literally with any meat and any vegetable. Just dice it up if it's left over from a previous meal and add it to an omelet, add it to a frittata, add it to a soup, and you have a whole new meal and you have not wasted a single penny. It's a beautiful thing that we should be doing on a regular basis. When I was talking about like the oatmeal and the rice, okay, and I know if you're diabetic, that's not something you can do. I'm just using those as examples, okay? Those are versatile ingredients. So being able to choose versatile ingredients when you're making up that menu for 3 weeks to figure out how to get through the next 3 weeks, whether it's medical, financial, you know, whatever, it really, you get more bang for your buck. Do you know what I mean? Just like the oatmeal and the rice. If you can buy it in bulk, use it for multiple meals. You can't get tired of rice if you're doing something different with it all the time. It's just food, you know? So a can of beans, I love this example. A can of beans can be used in salads. It can be used in soups or stews, and it's even a great filling for tacos. So just a can of beans, you have all those different options right there for all of those different meals. If you look at things like the beans and the rice and the oatmeal and, you know, the things that you can get that are A, very inexpensive, and B, very versatile, you can create a multitude of meals and never get tired of the same food, because it won't be the same food. A really great idea while you're doing this, or while you're leading up to it especially, is to create a food diary. Track what you're doing in a food diary, and that way you can adjust moving forward. You can repeat this, you know, often, all the time, and you can make notes. So say you decided to take the leftovers from the stir fry and you decided to make a soup, and it wasn't as much of a hit. So in your food diary, you just make a note that I did this and it wasn't received really well. So maybe next time I can change it up by doing this, or no, we're just never going to repeat this again. You know, being able to track those notes and keep track of them, having that one place to look at them, helps you repeat the things that you want to repeat and stay away from the things that you don't. One thing to definitely remember when you're doing this, and it goes for all aspects, right, is to be flexible and be creative. It's like taking those leftovers and turning them into a frittata or an omelet. You know, you get to bring your creativity out. Be flexible, because not everything is always going to go perfect. That's just the way it works. And you have to be open to substituting ingredients based on seasonal availability or discounts, or, you know, whatever the case may be. You may not have planned on having apples in your oatmeal 5 days in a row, but you got the apples on sale practically for free by the time you were done. And, well, now you're going to have apples in your oatmeal every day this week, you know? You can still mix it up by adding cinnamon one day, maple syrup the next day, you know what I mean? So be flexible and then creative with that flexibility. Experiment with flavors. So say you can't buy your favorite $8 a jar pasta sauce, okay? You can buy the cheap pasta sauce and doctor it up. You can add the spices and the herbs that you like, and you can maybe come up with something that you like more at less cost than your $8 a jar pasta sauce. So a basic tomato sauce with different herbs and spices gives you a different meal every single time. It's just something that you have to play with and experiment with. One time it's over pasta, one time it's next to potatoes, next time it's over rice, you know. Play with it, have fun with it. It's food, it's not rocket science. So you have to really embrace that less stringent, you know, code if that's what you normally go by. If you have picky eaters, you know, there's not a lot you can do about it. I get it. But if you figure it out right, you can even work with those picky eaters a little bit. I'm hoping that with some of these practical steps that it encourages you to try to do this the next time that you have something going on, or just try to do it because you're going to save money, you know. It will get your creative juices flowing. It will save you money. It will teach you what you do and don't like and what your family does and doesn't like, you know. And it hopefully will help you to efficiently plan and execute a 3-week food supply. That's the goal here, is to create a 3-week food supply on a budget, on a tight budget to beat that. So whether you're prepping for, you know, a busy period or a medical, you know, recovery time or an emergency, you know, car repair. Yeah. These should help you. This strategy should help you to be able to squeak by, not have to spend money that you don't want to spend, and still have healthy, good, nutritious meals. That's the important part. Toss your constructive suggestions in the comments section down below if I missed something that you think is good to share. And check out this playlist right here for how to stock your pantry for cheap. Cheap, 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 cheap. Until next time, everybody, be safe. Stack it to the rafters, my friends.